it going, everyone? Welcome back to another Wednesday episode of Hawk Talk here. I'm your host, David Pollier, here with the usual crew. My name's Rance again. Apparently, unfortunately, his car isn't working. His car broke down. He emailed me, so hopefully everything is good with him. But we got our usual crew of Zach and Ryan to my left, and then Alex and Carson to the fishbowl. Forgive me if I'm talking a little bit quieter. I've had a sore throat for the past 5 days or so, but I was just feeling well enough. I got cleared that I wasn't I wasn't sick or I wasn't contagious. So that was pretty cool. At 1:30 today. So yeah, we're all good there. But yeah, so we got some interesting topics today. Wanted to talk a little bit about basketball since we've been kind of focusing on football and baseball for the last couple weeks primarily. But before we get into any of that, we have our obscure sports segment this week, which I sound like a broken record, but man, I've really had to take inspiration from unconventional places to get these. And the thing I wanted to talk about is speed skating this week, which is a sport that's played at the Winter Olympics, and it's pretty much like a short race, except you're on skates. So yeah, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that. So let's start over here with Zach.
Yeah, speed skating is a very fun event to watch, especially during the Winter Olympics. Not only that speed skating, but also short track speed skating too. That's where it's on a short track, and then it's with 8 other skaters. It's like I said, NASCAR on ice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be a lot of fun. I know that the coordination you have to have is just crazy to do that because you have to angle your feet at a certain way to make sure that you get the maximum velocity, and I think it's really interesting. But Ryan, how about you?
Yeah, I think speed skating is very fun to watch. Through competitors race each other in a certain distance on skates, and I think isn't it someone starts and you had to tag someone?
Oh, like a relay?
I think so.
I thought it was I thought speed skating was is it a team sport or by yourself?
I think it's a mix. I think
it can be.
I think there's variations.
I think it can be. Yeah.
It's kind of just a general running track.
Right.
It can be individual or it can be
I
team.
just think it's really fun to watch. People skate really fast and yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think that would add an interesting element because obviously you have to make sure that you have the handoff as well and everything. Alex, how about you?
Yeah, I think it's as everybody's been saying, it's really exciting. That's just fair point. I think it's one of the best racing sports that there is. Just because obviously everybody gets excited for the Summer Olympics with the short track runs and such. I feel honestly the skating just adds that extra element and really keeps things interesting. Those tight turns around the corners and stuff, how they all get bunched up. Sometimes they'll slide off and then just the momentum will carry them off into the wall. Not that we want that to happen, but it happens and it's interesting. The speed that they're able to do it and stay upright. I would just fall down if I stepped onto any degree of ice.
Oh yeah, no, I feel the exact same way. My dad was a really good. My dad played hockey at Western Michigan, and he always wanted me to get into skating. And when I was 4, I remember I could barely even stay on my feet, and I could tell he was disappointed when I was a kid that I was never good at hockey. I just don't have the coordination for it. But so I definitely feel that. But yeah, how about you, Carson?
Yeah, I can't skate either. I really wish I could. Otherwise, I'd be playing hockey. But I think it's a cool sport. I've seen it mainly off of what is it? The Mario and Sonic Winter Olympics game or whatever.
Man,
that's where I found it. And then I saw some stuff on TikTok about it. But there's what I didn't know is that there's actually a few variations of speed skating. That kind of sparked from when Ryan was talking about a relay type of deal. There's long track, short track, and marathon. I don't know the difference. I've only really seen short track, so
I would assume that it would just be
just be a longer, little bit
the distance that you have to go would vary.
Yeah.
I would assume.
I don't know what marathon would entail. I think maybe that is more so the relay type, but I have no idea what that entails. The other two I can get an idea, but for the short track, it's actually crazy. They go about 30 to 35 miles an hour.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is wild.
That's residential car speed. So for a human being to be going at that kind of speed is pretty intense, pretty cool. The only
Right.
thing is that if you like move your leg a little bit or whatever, it's game over.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You're losing like a good chunk. That's
Yeah, no, I know somebody actually. I remember in middle school who I assume it's kind of the same, but fell off of an elliptical and hit his leg onto the elliptical, and yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I assume something similar would happen in that, like the type of lower leg injuries you'd have to be really careful
Yeah.
about. But yeah, no, I think that's interesting how there's like different like variations of it. Like Ryan mentioned with like the handoffs and everything, like a relay race and like different formats, which, you know, obviously you'd have to like prepare on how you'd want to tackle it based on like how long you'd be going, because if it was like a short relay, then you could just go all out and go as hard as you can. But if it's longer, you know, you might have to like think about like your stamina and like how you pace yourself. So I think that's really interesting. But yeah, I thought that would be an interesting topic to talk about. Really having to dig deep for these, but
Yeah.
get some fun conversation out of it. But anyway, moving into our second topic, we have the NBA season. I wanted to wait a little bit to talk about it because it had like it's still pretty fresh. We're only like 10, 15 games in the season, not even. But yeah, we're about 3 weeks into the NBA season, and some storylines have already started, and some teams have already started to separate themselves from others. So currently, the 76ers are actually in first place, mostly because of the elite play of Tyrese Maxey, who I've been campaigning ever since he was at Kentucky that he should have been a top 10 pick. That dude is electric. And then the Nuggets, no surprise there, sit atop the Western Conference. Jokic is playing very well without his co-star Jamal Murray, but there are still plenty of interesting things happening on the league. I had to wear my Bulls jersey in honor of the Bulls being dead last
Oh, I
in the
didn't even
league in
notice.
offensive net rating, literally 30th in the league in offensive net rating. So shout out to the boys. We're here. The time is now. But yeah, so what has stood out to you guys the most about how this NBA season has started? We'll start with Carson.
I mean, I'm gonna go with the home team here, mainly because that's where I like focus the most and what I have seen the most of.
Right.
It's this defense just not being what people want it to be in particular, and I don't think Lillard has really done what people have thought of him to do. Like, yeah, he did have a couple of good games during the beginning, but I mean, he's 27th in points, 117th in rebounds. But for assists, I would say that's probably his strong suit right now. And when you're dealing with like a star-heavy team like that with Giannis right next to you, he's tied for 8th with 4.8 assists per game. So
Solid.
I think he's more so a team player than he is like the leader, which is kind of what we needed. We needed a side-by-side explosive guy with Giannis. So he's good in that sense, but he's not, what everybody like thought he would do, where he would just be like the straight shooter and just like get like 25 to 30 points a game type of deal. But I mean, I would still say he's a little bit underwhelming for what he is capable of, and then just this team's defense over the course of the first month. I mean, losing to the Magic was like unbelievable.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That should not have happened, and we didn't even break 100 that game. So, I mean, yeah, it's the same thing. You can't rely on just like a couple players to do defense, like Lopez and Giannis. So, really need to find some other people to step up there, and then also losing to the Pacers by 2, ridiculous. We did have a good stretch of wins with against the Knicks, Nets, and Pistons. I mean, that shouldn't be anything to brag about because those are all like beneath us, I would say. So, I mean, a 6-4 record as of right now it's not terrible. I definitely think that's not what we should be at. And then tonight against the Raptors, who we lost pretty badly to in our previous matchup, Giannis will be out. So that's really going to see if there is going to be anybody stepping up. I think this would actually be a great opportunity to see what the team would be like without him defensively. I mean, yeah, you're going to have Lopez, but I would love to see anybody else. And also, Crawford out for, 8 weeks, I think?
Oh, Jay Crowder?
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, Crowder, yeah.
Nah, no worries.
I was thinking of football, yeah. Yeah, Crowder being out for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
He wasn't really a defensive guy to begin with, but still, I mean, that should be interesting to see how that plays out.
Still a piece of the rotation.
Yeah, he's still a good piece. So, honestly, I feel like tonight is a big key to see what this team could do without a big defensive player. So, honestly, if they really just fix that side and the coach gets a better game plan involved, I could see this team doing a lot better.
Yeah, no, I was going to say to your point, I remember when, about the defense being bad, I remember when, we were in class and the trade happened, I said to you and Sam, I was like, you guys are going to give up 140 points per night, but you're going to score 150.
Yeah.
When you can't expect, I mean, I think it's fair to say the defense will take a step back after losing a guy like Drew Holiday, the best perimeter defender in the league in many metrics. But I do agree that Lillard, I think I think his play, obviously it's still early, and, his tenure with the Bucks has just begun, but it is fair to expect a little bit more. But I think going from being such a ball dominant force to getting 30 to 40 touches per night and taking 25 to 30 shots on average, having the green light like that. I mean, he still obviously has that in Milwaukee, but now you got to understand that he's not the unquestioned number one.
Yeah.
So there's probably going to be a little bit of growing pains there too, especially since Chris Middleton he really is the type of player that requires the ball to be effective in the game. He really only impacts the game with his scoring at this stage of his career. So I think it'll be okay. I think that obviously you get a new head coach and a brand new franchise altering player. So I'd say give it a little bit of time. They'll figure it out.
I also just wanted to say, because you said Middleton, and that just reminded me, he is now top 5 franchise scorers.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that just happened, I believe, against the Bulls on Monday night. So that was
makes perfect
interesting.
sense.
Yeah, and he could honestly break top 4 within the next few games as well, because I feel like I think it's only like a 40-point difference or something.
Wow.
Between the next guy. Yeah, it's not that far off, so he could do it.
Wow, yeah. Alex, how about you, man?
I feel like the most intrigue is in the West currently.
I would agree.
Bigger surprises and both disappointingly and both also exceeding. Seeing Dallas doing pretty well, I feel like this shouldn't come as too much of a surprise. I know some people were saying with Kyrie and stuff, it's oh, you're gonna ruin the team, you're gonna ruin Luka, things like that, blah blah blah. But I know I did some research into it at the end of last season, and everybody was saying, oh, ever since he got there, they missed the playoffs, this, that, the other thing. But realistically, there were a lot of reports saying that the higher ups were just wanting to tank, so they were benching a lot of players, cutting time because they didn't want to lose that first round pick that they had.
Right.
Because if they made it, then
I remember that they actually we beat them, and it was actually we beat them when they only played Luka for less than 20 minutes, and they benched Kyrie, and that was actually the game that we ended up clinching the play-in with. So appreciate the finesse, boys. But yeah, I remember they literally got investigated for that because they were playing Josh Green and Jaden Hardy more than Kyrie.
I'll say, yeah, so that was more so the issue in the end of the day.
Right.
And now you see this year when they're actually willing to try and win, play the guys that are supposed to be starting. They're getting wins. I mean, you look at Luka, the production really hasn't gone down. 2nd in scoring, 5th in assists, 2nd in the 3-pointers made. So
Right.
he's still putting it up this year.
He's one of the top guys for MVP this year, I would say.
I would definitely say, especially, I'm glad you mentioned the Mavericks, actually, because I'm glad they didn't lose that first-round pick because they spent that first-round pick on the guy that they finally replaced Dwight Powell with. Dwight Powell has been a starting center in the NBA for like 6 years now, which is crazy to me. But yeah, Derek Lively is a lot better in my opinion. I really like. He's one of the most underrated rookies in the league this year. I think obviously he's not going to win Rookie of the Year, but I definitely think he could be like all rookie first team. He's been a great. Finally Jason Kidd realized that Dwight Powell is not the answer at center after barely playing Christian Wood at all last season. But I remember when the Kyrie trade happened, some people questioned the fit because it's two ball dominant players. But if you guys didn't know, Luka last year, and he's on pace to have a similar usage this year, but he had the highest usage rate in the league. He played the most minutes out of any player at 44 minutes per game, and he took the most shots. But obviously, he's not fat, but he's not the most in shape guy. So obviously by the fourth quarter, it comes around, somebody like that with that kind of usage is going to be pretty tired. Kyrie last year led the league in fourth quarter scoring. So you kind of see how that meshes together. You get Kyrie, who kind of operates as a secondary guy for the start of the game, and then the fourth quarter rolls around. You use him as more of a closer, which obviously he's one of the more clutch guards in the NBA in the past decade or so. So I think there was some things that they needed to work out, but I definitely saw the vision with that trade. And as long as the off the court problems don't continue. With Kyrie, I think that the Mavs can keep it going. They got a couple guys that I like a lot. I like Jaden Hardy a lot. Yeah. He's an intriguing prospect, but yeah, I definitely can appreciate the Mavs.
Who knows? Maybe Kyrie's finally found a place to settle down.
That would be nice. That would be nice because he's a talent. I don't like him as a person.
No.
He's really just he's like the Kanye of the NBA.
Honestly,
but he's a treat to watch, man. A hot take to say best finisher of the last decade, best layup package.
Decade.
I mean. You got, like John Wall, Derrick Rose, but I feel like Kyrie's right up there with those guys, with the best handles and the best finishing.
Oh, dude, yeah. When he was in Cleveland, yeah.
Yeah, but Ryan, how about you, man?
Yeah. I think a lot of teams, the three teams in the West, has surprised me. The Rockets, they started 0-3, and now they won 6 in a row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who saw that coming?
Minnesota's 8-2.
Right. Yeah, you guys see that stuff that happened yesterday with Draymond putting Rudy Gobert in a headlock?
I didn't see that. What?
Clay, that was ridiculous. Clay should not have been ejected because McDaniels was literally grabbing Clay's jersey.
Right.
And almost ripped it in half.
Yeah.
Yes.
I get Draymond's ejected, but Clay's ejection, that was ridiculous.
There's a great picture. Draymond literally had Rudy in a headlock, and he was gasping for air and
Dude, oh my gosh.
I think that was probably one.
Right.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, some of the ejections this year have been a bit iffy, especially the one with Giannis.
Oh yeah.
He didn't even do
that
anything.
Mean mug,
he didn't even,
which apparently is illegal.
That's terrible. And then he was sitting with the fans. That was
I
cool.
think the Clippers are 0-6 with James Harden.
Yeah, how about that?
Did you guys see that announcer just tear James Harden a new one?
Yes,
that
dude.
3-minute clip.
I looked in the comments of that.
I think I saw something like that.
In the comments of that, they were like, "This is going to be the opening of a James Harden documentary." I'm like, "Yeah,
It should be. Of how
it should be."
I hate James Harden. I used to think that Russ was the problem in OKC and then in the back half of Houston, but it might have been Harden. I mean, look at.
I think it was Harden.
He's man.
I feel like any team's better without him at this point.
Honestly.
I see why the Clippers didn't want to give up Terrence Mann and 2 first-round picks because we've seen teams sell out to get this guy and get almost nothing in return.
I feel like it's going to be the same thing here, and I'm already regretting my preseason prediction of where I had them at. Oh.
Yeah.
I think hot take from me right now. My MVP pick so far. Steph Curry.
I don't really think that's a hot take. I mean, obviously he's
he's third in scoring, 30 points a game.
Mm-hmm. I don't really think that's a hot take. I would
behind only Embiid and Luka.
I feel like he's always going to be in the conversation for the most part.
They just have to figure out their rotation
I just think
because
Steph he always starts in the MVP conversation to start the year. But I feel like they need shots, but I feel like he comes back up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
kinda
I'd say so.
Most
Yeah,
most
so I
players
just
have
think
those droughts, yeah.
the Warriors have to figure out the rotation. Wiggins has been off to a really slow start,
Yeah,
and they still have to solve their problem of not really having like a serviceable big man
Yeah,
behind
I just
Looney.
think I think that, like they need to, the words like need to sign another center.
Yeah, well, we've been
It's
saying
like-
that for
yeah,
years.
I think your backup's like Dario Saric.
Dario Saric is like 6'8".
I know.
Like, he's not even like a-
And like Looney's like 6'9" or 6.
Looney's solid. Looney's a board machine,
I know,
but he just
I
doesn't
know,
really offer
Looney's
anything
a
on.
good center for them. Just
Looney doesn't really offer anything on
Like,
offense.
they need to like go out there and sign a guy who's like 7 foot, like a backup.
All right, Zach, how about you?
Well, when looking at the Western Conference standings, one thing that caught my eye was that the Timberwolves are currently in second place.
I saw that
as they-
too.
As they are
Mhm.
currently on a 7-game winning streak.
Yeah, maybe the whole Twin Towers thing with Cat and Gobert is that they're finally starting to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I-
But even though it's early in the
Right,
season, but
right.
still anything can change.
No, I mean, yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, the Jazz started out 7-3 last year too, so like,
Yeah.
you know, nothing lasts forever. But like, it is interesting to see how hot they've started. Any other teams you were looking at?
Well, and then I looked at the Eastern Conference. I'm surprised that, believe it or not, the 76ers
Right.
are in first place. But again, it's still early on in the season. But so
I mean, look at what getting rid of James Harden has done
yeah,
to Tyrese
and also
Tyrese Maxey.
with the new coach that the Sixers got too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Nurse is like, he's been one of the best coaches in the league now.
Yeah.
Can I add on or?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't think Harden was not happy in Philly.
Yeah.
He wanted out of there for how long?
Yeah,
He's just an unhappy man.
Yeah, and
He
then
finally got his
I
wish.
think like with Harden like gone, it's Maxey's turn to like
Yeah.
I think I said on the Monday show that Tyrese Maxey is going to be an all-star this year.
I love that take. I think that unfortunately, like, he could have had a shot last year, but there are a lot of like guards in like the mid-20s, because I would compare him a lot to guys like Jordan Poole, Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero this year is off to an amazing start. He's averaging like 26 points per game before he got hurt. He hurt his ankle, but like I would compare Maxey to those type of guys
Yeah,
like
I think-
Poole, Halliburton maybe, Hero. But the thing is that I think like last year prevented a guy like that from making the All-Star team is that there's just so many good guards.
And I think Maxey's like 9th in scoring, 28 points a game so far.
And if he keeps on that pace, he should definitely get it. I still don't know how much I trust the 76ers in the playoffs, just because
Yeah.
Embiid is just generationally bad in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
he is.
Embiid is averaging 14 points per game in elimination games for the 76ers in his career.
Yeah.
The dude is a bum in the
Wow.
I'd say,
playoffs.
like
Agreed.
Like Indiana's pretty off to a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, too.
yeah, that Halliburton trade is really looking like a huge win-win. Like that kind of reminds me of like the Justin Jefferson Stephon Diggs trade. Maybe one team won a little bit more. I think the Pacers definitely won, but I mean it's a good, like, Sabonis has been great, has unlocked a whole new like core like part of the offense for the Kings, and Halliburton is probably finally in a place where he can thrive without having another like all-star guard around. So it's definitely looking like a good trade. One team I wanted to talk about that I'm super bought in is the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think
Let's go.
they've been
Let's
looking great, man. I really like what the vision that Sam Presti had is finally starting to come to fruition. I think obviously Wembanyama is still the NBA frontrunner, but yesterday, Chet Holmgren held Wemby to 8 points, and it was his lowest point total of the season and his lowest field goal percentage of the season so far. I think Chet Holmgren could seriously challenge Wemby for Rookie of the Year, and obviously Wemby has the narrative on his side, but Chet's looked amazing defensively, currently averaging almost 2 blocks per game, and man, the Thunder are a fun team, man. I mean, Shea is obviously. I think Shea is. I think you can make the case for him being the best shooting guard in the league. Yeah, I mean, he scored the most out of any just dedicated 2-guard last year. He scored like 32 points per game, and his efficiency has been great this year. And you got guys like Jalen Williams is super fun to watch as well. The rookie out of I think he's from Oklahoma. And then, like Lou Dort, really fun guy to watch. I'm bought in on what the Thunder are doing.
But check this out, like the Thunder oldest player
Is 25, right?
is 31.
Well, yeah, but like, is that Kenrick Williams, right?
No, that's Kendrick. No, it's Davis Bertans.
I didn't even know he was on the Thunder.
Oh, that's what it says here.
Interesting.
Maybe that was just to try and get like their average age up a little bit.
Maybe.
Make them seem like
I know that like out of like the core that they actually play with like SGA, Giddy's another guy. I like Giddy a lot. Their average, like Shea is like the vet on that team. He's like 24, which is
25.
really funny.
that's just wild.
Yeah, when you got a 24-year-old as your proven like chiseled veteran, I think that says a lot. But they're winning, man. And I also wanted to talk. I know they're not winning games, but Wembanyama definitely looks the part so far with the Spurs.
Yeah.
I like what the Spurs are doing a lot too. I think they have to. I think one thing Popovich has to realize is that Jeremy Sohan is not an actual point guard. This whole Magic Johnson type thing where you have a 6'8" dude running point, it's just the experiment's not working. Start Trey Jones, let Sohan come off the bench as like a sixth man. Wembanyama literally, like, I'm pretty sure that Wembanyama and Trey Jones, that's like the most efficient pick and roll in the league this year.
I don't get why the Spurs are starting. Because isn't Wemby isn't Wembanyama center?
Technically,
Okay, it's why do you have a 7'3" guy playing power forward and like a 6'10" guy playing center, Zach
just
Collins?
I think Collins is there just because he's better interior, and like Wembanyama can obviously space the floor a little bit more with his perimeter offense, but Collins has actually been really decent. I remember him; he was really good at Gonzaga. But yeah, I like what they're doing a lot. I think they got a Devin Vassell, pretty exciting young guy, Keldon Johnson. I'm bought in. Even though the Spurs are 3-8, obviously, like, you know, they weren't supposed to be competitive right away, but I'm bought in with what the Spurs are doing. But yeah, is there any other teams you guys wanted to talk about?
I'm just glad you brought up the Thunder. I think that
Dude,
was when I was excited
You
for
two
going
and the
into it.
Thunder, man. Every time.
They're
Every
a fun
time.
team, man.
It's cool.
They're a fun team. I really think that if Presti's smart, he'll take a couple because they have like 5 picks in the 2024 draft. You know, eventually you got to think, you know, there's only one basketball, and they've had so many first round picks in the last like how long has it been? Like 4 years, 5 years since they traded away Russ and PG. I say you package a couple of those first round picks and go after like a star to put at the final spot, because you already got a really good starting lineup, but you maybe go after like a good like combo 3 so that Lou Dort can like become go the 6th man, and you'll be set. Like like an actual like veteran that'd be sick.
Who do you have in mind? Just curious.
Maybe somebody like, I'm trying to think of who would be a free agent in the next couple years. Maybe somebody like Pascal Siakam, if he doesn't decide to, or like OG Anunoby. I feel like he's in trade talks every year at the deadline. Or you know, if the Bulls decide to blow it up, DeRozan could be an interesting option, because I know
I've been
that.
hearing the Bulls might be looking that route.
Yeah, I would be surprised if
Just
we
try
had
and
the
restart.
same team as we did in a month.
I've seen like a lot of I've seen like a lot of this recently. Like people are saying that you were saying if like Joel Embiid leaves the Sixers, he's gonna go join the Knicks.
Interesting. I highly doubt
Yeah.
he would leave Philly.
Yeah, I highly doubted that.
But that would be
Philly.
that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I think the Bulls, honestly, I get it that, like, you know, you wanted to try to keep the core together as long as you could. And I remember, man, like when Lonzo was healthy, we were like, I remember back in All-Star break 2021, we were the #1 seed in the East, and I don't know if that would have stayed, but I think if he never got hurt, we definitely could have at least won a playoff series. So I understand why you would want to try to keep it together for longer, because you saw what happened like when the team was healthy. But I think it's time to pull the plug. You could probably get like a Drew Holiday type package for Zach LaVine with, you know, maybe like a couple first round picks, a couple young impact players. DeRozan, you could probably deal at the deadline to get at least like maybe like a pick or two. And then I actually think we could get some good value for Vucevic because he's a walking double-double. Not very good on defense, but he's a very team-friendly tradable contract. 3 years, $60 million, with the third year being a team option. So it's pretty fair money for a guy that could come in and like if you put Vucevic on the Lakers and let him play power forward, and he can help space the floor with AD. I think that would work out pretty well. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. It's hard being a Bulls fan right now. I just build around Kobe White, maybe Patrick Williams and Io, and see where the ride takes us, I guess. But yeah. Okay, so I'm glad we were able to talk about the NBA some. I know Ryan was really wanted to get into that, but I wanted to let the season marinate a little. And obviously,
it just started.
we could be having a completely different conversation in a couple weeks here after everything. I remember I remember at this time last year the Jazz were in first place at the West after trading Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. So it just goes to show that some teams just flare up early, but we'll see who's contenders and pretenders in a while. But moving on to football, a little bit of a more specific topic. I wanted to get to this last week, but we didn't have the option to, and I was kind of thinking it was a dead topic now because it's a whole week old. But this person went on the Pat McAfee show to give some more clarity about this moment a couple days ago. So if you guys don't know, during Monday Night Football last week with the Chargers and the Jets, Aaron Rodgers was talking with Derwin James on the sideline after the game about when he was going to return, and he said, "Give me a couple weeks," and which is crazy because he's not even 3 months into his his rehab for tearing his Achilles, which normally takes around, I think it's 12 to 15 months to come back for. It's almost the same.
That's way longer than I thought. I thought it was only
It's at
6
least
months.
a year.
It's almost the same as the ACL, right?
Wow.
Yeah, it's right up there.
And you'd think with somebody as old as Rodgers, who's about to turn 40, it might be even longer. But apparently he underwent some experimental drug implemented surgery or something that I don't know. It's not traditional at all. Because we've seen
That
those.
doesn't sound like Rodgers.
It sounds like something that he would do. He would go to some shaman that would try to bless his leg through the power of
Yeah, that sounds
science
like
and
him.
science in space paleontology or whatever. But I thought it was interesting. If Rodgers does come back this year, which would be crazy. We've seen him throwing already and actually moving around laterally a little bit. What do you guys think that means for the Jets this year, who have managed to actually stay afloat? They're 5-5 right now. Definitely have had a couple winnable games that they've lost. But what do you guys think would happen with the Jets if at this point right now they would be able to get Aaron Rodgers back? Zach, we'll start with you.
I mean, I'm just gonna say, first, I personally don't see Aaron Rodgers coming back, but I would say that if he does come back, Jets could probably win, a good amount of games. Not a lot though, but probably
Right.
a good amount. But if he does ever come back, I don't see them being a playoff contending team or anything.
Do you think right now, if Rodgers was to return, let's say next week, do you think that if the Jets would be able to make the make the playoffs realistically?
No.
Really?
No.
Wow.
I mean, the AFC is a juggernaut right now. I mean, right now, if the playoffs were to start right now, the Bills and the Bengals would be out of the playoffs despite being over 500.
I don't think that's the AFC being good. I think it's just those teams just being really disappointing.
Yep.
Just about the rest of the conference.
Well, I mean, if you look at the rest of three AFC North teams are all in the playoffs right now.
That division's
you
going
got
pretty
the
crazy.
Chiefs,
I'll admit that.
you got the Broncos actually look
Yes.
if the Broncos still if they win their they win two more games, they're right back in the playoff push. So you got a lot of teams threatening. So I understand how you would say that.
Yeah.
Ryan, how about you?
Yeah, I think the Jets are 4-5 right now.
They're 5-5.
Right, this is 4-5 right here.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought-
4-5.
Oh, my bad. I thought
Yeah.
they were.
No, you're good.
Oh, my bad.
You're probably thinking of the Bills because they're 5-5.
That's true.
So what I'm hearing you say is that
I
you
think-
predict a win.
Wait, who are they playing next?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Oh, that's a good
He
question.
said, Rodgers said on the Pat McAfee show that,
All the Bills.
he said,
Ooh.
Ooh.
he said that there's no timetable for
Right.
me to return, but I read something. He said that Rodgers might come back in mid-December.
Interesting.
So I think if he does come back, and I think maybe the Jets find a way to sneak into the playoffs.
I think it's definitely possible, man. I mean, that Jets defense is seriously, like, I think
Yeah.
Quinnen Williams deserves to be in, like, the defensive. That dude is so good.
Dude, he really is.
That dude is so good. Everyone talks about, like, Sauce, but, like, and obviously Sauce, like, he's a good ball hawk and everything, but Quinnen Williams is literally, like, one of the best D linemen in football. That dude is.
I mean, like, you got, like, before the start of the season, you got, like, you signed good wide receivers.
Hmm. I mean, yeah. I definitely think that
Like,
Garrett Wilson has
Wilson,
been.
Allen Lazard,
They need to use Lazard more, man. He's, like, barely getting any targets.
Brees Hall.
Yeah.
Love Brees.
Oh, Brees
I
is,
love
Yeah.
Brees is
Brees Hall,
sick.
I
dude.
think, like,
Brees
I
is
feel
sick.
like Rodgers might.
I like how you brought it. Yeah, he said on the Pat McAfee show that he clarified and he said that, like, there's still no timetable, but he hopes to be back before the year is over, like the calendar year. But yeah, Alex, how about you, man?
I mean, I don't know. With Rodgers, like the notion that he's coming back just seems ridiculous. I mean, maybe he made a deal with the Hat Man in the dark room or something. I don't know.
Hat Man.
Just
Right.
always off on his crazy Rodgers shenanigans.
I
and
thought it
whatnot.
was. I thought he was just, just talking crazy. But those videos came out of him, and he's like moving around.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he got like a clone or something. Like no, he's got like a stunt double playing or
They
something.
just put a bunch of needles in his
It's-
knee so that he couldn't feel anything for like an hour.
It's his doppelganger from that one Packer
yeah,
game.
from the German guy.
yeah.
But well, like you were saying, the defense is obviously amazing. I think it's the
Yeah,
best in
they're
the
getting
league.
carried by it.
Yeah, I mean, you look at some of the leaders. C.J. Mosley is 5th in the league for
I
tackles.
forgot they signed C.J. Mosley.
Whitehead is 3rd for interceptions, and they still have the big names like Williams.
Whitehead that's literally that because of that one game from the Bills.
Oh, yeah.
He hit his he had he did like a $1 million incentive in his contract where if he got 3 picks in a season he would get it, and he literally got that in one game versus
just
Buffalo,
amazing.
which is so funny.
I love it when those types of things happen. But then, like you're saying, you still have Sauce. You still have
DJ
Quinnen Williams,
Reed.
DJ Reed, another great one.
Right.
I mean, they've got so many pieces, and it shows. They play it. Robert Saleh, defensive-headed coach or
Right.
defensive-minded coach. He plays them like it. And then, I mean, you still got like solid weapons, like with Garrett Wilson, the Brees Hall.
Yeah.
2 guys that could have been Rookie of the Year, but only one of them played the whole
Right.
season. But I mean, I don't know. Going into the year, I was skeptical about the whole Rodgers thing. It's like, this was too much hype. They're not going to live up to it. Now, I don't know what to think really, because like he would be coming back. It would be a bit new. Like it'd be the first time he's played in a while.
Right.
The defense has still done great, so as long as he plays better than Zach Wilson or whatnot, which I'm sure he could, but it's just, I don't know,
Yeah.
like you were saying with the whole AFC and whatnot, sure, it's wide open, but like, I'm going to say I don't really respect any of the teams in this conference. Like, you look at the
Really?
Dolphins, they never beat anybody above 500.
That is true. Every team, every juggernaut in the AFC has a question mark. Like the
Exactly.
Chiefs, like the receiving core.
Yep.
The
Big one.
Dolphins have looked like the Vikings last year, where they just fold in the big moments.
Yep.
Pretenders, like the Chargers. I think, still have some things to work out.
I know this is off
happening.
topic, but it just happened. The NL Cy Young Award goes to Blake Snell.
Oh,
Oh, that's cool.
well
Congrats to
deserved.
him.
Well
Yeah, no
deserved.
kidding. But I mean, like you're saying, everybody's got the question mark. Dolphins never beat anybody above 500. When
Right.
you get to the playoffs, you're going to have to do that. The
Right.
Bills are just imploding. The Jets, obviously, like with Rodgers coming back, that could be things. The Chiefs, that's actually something I wanted to bring up. You look at like the Chiefs' offense; it's been pretty stagnant throughout the whole year. They really haven't been that fun, explosive team everybody's used to.
Right.
You look at Washington; they're putting things up.
Sam
with
Howell.
and whatnot.
Sam Howell, looking like the guy.
The key piece that connects the two is Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator. He left Kansas City this offseason, went to Washington.
Interesting.
Nobody ever really talks about coordinators like coaches, players. That's the big thing. But it really seems like he's had an impact in the sense like when he's left Kansas City, their whole offense has kind of gone stagnant. But then in the case of Washington, they've really been picking it up and stuff, going full aerial and whatnot. So I don't know. I feel like that's something for that case. As
Right.
well.
Yeah. No. I'm very pleasant surprise about Sam Howell.
Yes.
He's looking really good.
Love that.
I think if he continues to play like this, it could dissuade the Commanders from selecting a QB in this draft? Because there is a lot of good
Yeah.
quarterbacks in this draft.
I
but-
think he's already done enough for them to not even like focus on that.
You know he
within the first
leads.
few
You know
rounds.
he's leading the league in passing yards right now.
And then second
Honestly,
is
that
CJ
doesn't
Stroud,
surprise
which is
me.
just
That's-
insane.
Just,
That's
you know
crazy.
what everyone thought.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, totally saw that coming.
Man, I gotta say, I was so wrong about CJ Stroud. Like, and maybe it's just because I was a Michigan fan, so I'm a D1 hater. But I mean, I feel like I give a lot of credit to CJ Stroud because all the criticisms of him were like really real. Like he didn't respond to pressure well. When the play broke down, he kind of like scrambled and didn't really go through his reads properly. Playing behind like arguably the second best offensive line in football with Paris Johnson and DeJuan Jones, who were literally starting NFL offensive linemen at this point, and his just like refusal to run the ball when when the time came. I think those were all legitimate concerns, and I think a lot of that, especially like after the Michigan game, is I think what caused him to fall to number 2. But he's just responded with, an offensive line that is really up and down besides for Laramie Tunsil and weapons that obviously aren't better than what he had at Ohio State.
Tank Dell's been doing nice.
Tank Dell's been,
Tank Dell and Nico.
Nico
It's like
Collins,
Dalton
but like,
Schultz.
like when you look at what he
But
had with,
obviously,
it's a
Jackson
huge
Smith and
decline, yeah.
Jigba,
Chris
Marvin
Olave,
Harrison,
Garrett
Chris
Wilson.
Olave, Garrett Wilson, Cade Stover even, probably going to be the second tight end taken after Brock Bowers this year. Like, it's crazy to think that he already is arguably a top 10 QB in the league.
Yeah.
So
I just love that though. It's
yeah,
so awesome.
no,
I love that.
I do
I do
like
like
CJ Stroud.
I
Yeah,
like
me
Houston
too.
turning
And
around.
D'Amico Ryans has done some
Yeah.
great things. That could be another example of what you said about a coordinator leaving. Obviously, he's not going into a coordinator role,
would
but
say
like
as the coach.
the impact,
Hey,
like
the third time with the third year with like a new coach it finally worked out.
right.
And I love his response to like the test being a big factor into
I don't read books. I play football.
yeah, I love that. That was
That's
that was
pretty sick.
Perfect. That was so
That's
perfect.
pretty sick.
Oh, I love that. But my opinion on the whole Rodgers situation,
I
I
would
would
talking about Rodgers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, we kind of got a little off
Man.
topic there.
No, that's all right. Football is football. You can never go wrong with it.
Right.
But my opinion on it is that I would possibly even see them winning the division with him. That's a big hot take. Yeah, that's just my like highest
I mean,
ceiling
if
for
the
them.
Bills keep spiraling,
I really don't see them being who they used to be. I really don't. They've just made too many like bad.
I think-
just
yeah,
don't.
the
I just don't
Dolphins.
dig them anymore. I mean,
Their run
the
game
Dolphins
isn't as
is the
good.
biggest-
I was
is
saying
the
because like
biggest
they don't really have
enemy.
to face anybody above 500 the rest of the year except for the Jets ones.
Yeah, see,
But
like,
they're not even above 500 yet.
It's really between if Rodgers comes back, the
Yeah.
Jets and the Dolphins for who's going to win that division. I mean, the obvious answer is the Dolphins because you look at them and then it's just like, yeah, okay, of course. But I mean, Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers,
Right.
So like, you can't really count him out. And plus, this team's biggest fault is quarterback. I mean, Zach Wilson, if you take him out, I mean, granted, we haven't really seen what Rodgers would do, really, because I believe he only had like 6 snaps and then he was
Yeah,
down.
right away.
So
Not
even a whole drive.
what he can do with this team is still up in the air. But if it's anything of what we saw in like those highlight tapes in the preseason and like training camp and everything, then I could definitely see this team winning 100% this division. I mean,
I think if
Yeah.
this
It's-
game versus the Bills is going to be
this-
really telling.
yeah, because they won. I believe they won their last encounter,
Yeah.
didn't they?
Oh yeah.
Yes,
week
they
one.
did,
that's
yeah.
right.
Week one. Yeah.
That was a
Yes.
wild one.
Wow.
The Dariq Whitehead legacy game.
Oh yes, how
Yeah.
could I forget that, man? I watched that game too.
Imagine being a Jets fan when that happens. You see the guy that literally is supposed to get you out of quarterback purgatory just die on the
Yep.
football field.
Just-
But then
Yeah.
you guys
First
win off of a punt return, like just the most.
That was
oh my
amazing.
god.
Yes,
I
yes.
can't even imagine what it would be like.
I loved that game. It was that game was superb, and it happened on a perfect day too. If you know what day it was in September, so that brought a lot of joy to them. But yeah, honestly, if you take away Zach Wilson, who is obviously their biggest flaw, and their defense is definitely carrying them, and honestly, in some cases, their offense as a whole can be like a bit aggravating, but there's been multiple games where Wilson hasn't even scored a touchdown.
Right. Yeah.
So
I know Garrett Wilson had that players-only meeting with like him and like Tyler Conklin and Brees Hall and everyone, and they were just expressing their frustrations.
yeah,
But apparently Saleh has no, like, they could have traded for like. They could have traded before he got hurt. They could have traded for like Ryan Tannehill
Get
or
Josh
like
Dobbs,
get
maybe.
Josh Dobbs or like Jacoby Brissett or like a good bridge
I do
guy.
like
But
Brissett.
yeah, they could have got Drew Lock too, who I could even see as better as Zach Wilson.
I would say so. Yeah.
Which is like crazy to say.
No,
But
I mean,
it's-
yeah.
I
So-
mean, it's the truth. So it's just, I mean, I really had high hopes for Zach Wilson too when he first started. Like in the draft, I had him as like my favorite quarterback, and just no matter what you do, and even with Saleh, when he was asked why do you keep starting Zach Wilson, he was like, "All right, I'm gonna be honest, I plead the fifth," and I was like,
well,
"Yeah,
I mean,
that
yeah,
says
it's
it
either
all."
him or like Trevor Simeon.
Yeah. But like the fact that he had to say that is like it says it all, which means that he doesn't even have any confidence
It's
anymore
like
in
with
him.
it's like what John Brian Cashman saying that you guys saw that about what he said about Giancarlo Stanton about how teams that are looking to sign him shouldn't go into the expectation that he's going to be healthy for a whole season. It's like, God, what do you just
Wow.
like, man, Jesus.
Just ugh.
But that actually is a good segue into our next topic.
Oh yeah.
Which is the MLB awards just got announced, and as Ryan actually just said, Blake Snell has won Cy Young. Do you know who won it for the AL, or did it not get released yet?
I don't think it got released yet.
Like,
Not seeing it.
Blake Snell wins.
yeah.
Okay.
but I think it's no doubt. It's gonna be like it's no. I think it's gonna be Garrett Cole.
I could see that. I think yeah, I could see that. I think that'll be. I think that one's a little closer. It was kind of in the NL. It was kind of a two-man race between Justin Steele and Blake Snell, but Steele had just a god awful month of September.
Yeah.
He had like a 6.65 ERA in the month, so
Yeah,
he really he
I
took
think-
himself
I
out of
think
that
he
race.
finished- I think it was Blake Snell finished first with 28 first place votes, and then Logan Webb,
Oh yeah, he's good
Zach
from the Giants.
Gallen, and then Spencer Strider finished fourth.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
and then
Yeah, Steele was in second at one point. So he just
Justin Steele finished fifth.
Steele was in second at one point, so that just shows you how bad of a month of September he had.
Yeah.
But Blake, yeah, well deserved to Blake Snell. I feel like that would.
Yeah.
That's kind of like we didn't even really have to discuss that. That's kind of like a slam dunk. He's been
Yeah,
absolutely electric.
Yeah, and I think.
Oh no, you're good. I was just gonna say the Blake Snell second half of the season might be the best pitcher of all time
Yeah.
because he started with a 3.9 ERA before the All-Star break. And that's literally what's happened. Like he won his last Cy Young like that too. That's just how Blake Snell works. It'll be very interesting to see what happens with because the Padres have some very big decisions they have to make with Hader being an upcoming free agent, Snell, and then obviously Soto still in their contract for one more year. But what are they going to do with him? But I wanted to talk about the Rookie of the Years as well because I feel like they're all what everyone expected. But I think the AL. Corbin, can we all just agree that Corbin Carroll winning
Yeah,
NL
sure.
was like the right move?
That was. I feel like that's like undebated. That should be.
I like James Outman, and I think actually Yuri Perez is pretty cool. Being a 20-year-old, and he had the highest rookie streak ever with no innings allowed with a run. He pitched his first 28 innings without allowing a run as a 20-year-old. That was pretty cool, but those guys are just fumes. Like it was Carroll's award to lose, and I'm very excited to see how his career is going to go. But Gunnar Henderson won it for the AL, which I think to most people was the right pick. But a lot of people, some people are saying, you got guys like Tristan Casas, Tanner Bibby. You got a couple other guys that I think could have made the argument for. So what do you guys think about that? We'll start with Zach.
Yeah, for the American League for Rookie Year, I mean, just seeing Gunnar Henderson's stats, he hit 28 home runs, 9 triples, 82 RBIs, scoring 100 runs. I'd say for that kind of stat, like that, I was like, that's probably to me like a well-deserved for his Rookie of the Year. And then same in National League, yeah, this one I could agree with.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure all of us
It's a
could agree.
slam dunk pick.
Yeah, all the way. I mean, 25 homers for Corbin Carroll, then 54 steals. Like, made him the first 25 to 50 rookie in MLB history en route to leading Arizona to the World Series. So
Right. Ryan, how about you?
Yeah, I know I'm going to say Corbin Carroll, as you said, well deserved. I'm not going to even talk about that.
Right.
And then I would say Gunnar Henderson deserved it. I mean, they got swept in the ALDS.
Unfortunate.
I mean, playoffs don't really matter, right?
No, it's just a regular season award. Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
regular season award.
Yeah, I would say he was 100-win team. I think well deserved for him.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was interesting. Just thought it was interesting because there was a couple Tanner Bibby had like the third lowest ERA out of any rookie and the most strikeouts out of any rookie, and then Tristan Casas was just he was just kind of an all-around player, a good player for the Red Sox. I thought another guy I wanted to bring up real quick is Spencer Steer, who I thought if he would have played the full season, I think he got called up in I want to say. I don't think he started the season in Cincinnati. I think he got called up in June. But I think if he would have played a full season, I really like what the Reds are doing with obviously Ellie, but Ellie had a terrible second half. But Ellie and then Matt McClain, Spencer Steer, Friedel, they got a lot of good guys there. But yeah, Alex, how about you?
Obviously we're saying with the Corbin Carroll, straightforward, pretty obvious choice.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the Gunnar Henderson, I feel like that was the right way to go. I mean, as you're saying,
Yes.
with
yes, too.
I really like Gunnar. Sorry.
I feel like sometimes it also comes down to just the recognition of the player, a bit more star power to it, a bit more just flashiness in a way. And then plus, I mean, look at Baltimore, just a feel-good story of the year, just an
Right.
amazing
Yeah.
team.
If
So
they
many
invest
games.
in some good starting, they go out and get Aaron Nola, or if Blake Snell becomes available, or even a low key guy maybe Jordan Hicks, because I know he's going to be a free agent. They could really, because they'll have John Means back next year, and then Bradish kind of had a coming out party this year. And then you get Grayson Rodriguez some more time in the show, and they got another, I forget his name. They got this big Dominican guy in AAA too. They could be a real force if they can just improve their pitching.
What if they got Hader?
Ooh, well, but they already feel but Felix Bautista is gonna miss probably because he had Tommy John's right before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember that.
They could maybe sign Hader to a 1-year deal, but Hader. My problem with that is that I think Hader will be looking for because he had a great bounce back year this year.
He did.
One of the I'd say probably if Alexis Diaz didn't exist, he would have probably won reliever of the year. But Alexis Diaz was the truth in Cincinnati. But he had an amazing year, so he's probably going to be looking for a long-term deal. But yeah, no, when Felix Bautista comes back, he was an amazing closer in Baltimore. But yeah, and one other thing. Oh wait, Carson, sorry, I didn't get to you about.
No, yeah, you're good. I would be flabbergasted if anybody other than Corbin Carroll got NL Rookie of the Year. So, I mean, yeah, that's unanimous. I really enjoy Gunnar Henderson. Unfortunately, I couldn't really get to watch him that much this year. But him and Adley Rutschman are two guys that I love watching.
Future is bright.
Yeah,
It really
they're
is.
they're really good, fun guys to watch. And he led both Orioles and All American League rookies in BWAR and FWAR with 6.2 and 4.6, while also hitting for 28 home runs, 9 triples, 82 RBIs, and scoring 100 runs. So that's definitely nothing to shy away about. With a dynamic defender at 2 infield positions.
Yeah,
With him
having a
and
good catcher
having that
is
is
so
like, yeah.
valuable these days.
Yeah,
I feel like the catcher is kind of like tight end in football,
Yeah.
where it's a really top-heavy position.
And it just gets overlooked sometimes. Yeah, I mean, 100% agree.
You got guys
100% agree.
obviously there's guys like you got JT and Adley, William Contreras, I think is in that conversation now, and Sean Murphy, but you go down the list and it's you can name top 10 shortstops that are all all-stars, but you get to the top 10 catchers and it's fringe guys.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's very valuable.
It's official.
Definitely an
the
important
2023 AL Cy Young Award,
Garrett Cole.
Garrett Cole.
All right. I don't mind that.
Yeah, cool.
I'm not the biggest Garrett Cole guy, just because
Wait, is he who
The-
I'm thinking of?
The past couple years with Cole, my problem is that like he strikes out a lot of batters, but it's like everyone's like campaigning for Spencer Strider to not be in the race because of his high ERA. Garrett Cole's ERA the last time he won Cy Young was the 4th highest. Like he literally had the highest ERA of all 4. They looked at like strikeouts and like a bunch of other stats, but I just think that people kind of give him that.
In fact, he was Jericho was unanimous.
Wow. I don't know about unanimous. He'd probably.
Yeah,
I don't know about
well,
unanimous,
it says
but
here it's
no. I'm not saying I like trust you. I'm just saying like I don't know if I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But interesting. Well, there you have it.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. But
Specifically here.
one other thing before we get into the final thoughts, I thought was interesting. Manager of the year for the NL was Skip Schumacher for the Marlins,
Yeah.
which was a little bit interesting because obviously if it's based off of the regular season, I think it has to be Brian Snitker. I mean, obviously the Mariners, nobody thought they would make the playoffs. They were another kind of a feel-good story, just barely sneaking in, and they got obliterated by the Phillies. But I like it was cool, but like I don't know if we're going
Why'd you say Mariners?
or the Phillies, sorry, or the Marlins.
Yeah,
sorry.
okay. I was like, yeah, we didn't even make the playoffs.
My bad. I got my MA teams mixed up. But yeah, the Marlins, barely snuck into the playoffs, got obliterated by the Phillies. I get it's a feel good story, and do have a lot of young pieces that I like, but the Braves obviously imploded in the playoffs, but. I mean, they had like literally one of the most impressive regular seasons ever. Like they literally set the franchise, like the MLB record for most home runs in a season. I don't see how you don't give it to Brian Snitker if it's just based off the regular season. But that's just me. But anyway, we got 3 minutes for final thoughts. So Carson, we'll start with you.
Oh, yes. Get ready for your daily dose of Admirals hockey. So they're sitting at 5-5 now. I'm not too happy about that. They just got off of a win against the Texas Stars on Saturday. And their next game is in Rockford, Illinois. On the 17th, so this Friday. And then they have another game in Chicago the day after that, so hopefully they'll be able to get both of those and destroy Illinois. And then they'll be good there. And then also, NLL is coming up soon, less than a month. The first game of the season starts December 1st. It'll be, three games set for that day. So I'm really looking forward to that, and honestly, just wish the Admirals would do better. They should not be a 500 team.
We'll see what happens with that. Hopefully they can climb out of that. Alex, how about you?
Obviously, this weekend is going to be very exciting. Much like our beloved Whitewater Marching Band, I will be going up to Lambeau this weekend for the
Nice.
Chargers-Packers game.
Nice.
Hoping it'll be a good
That's
one.
hype.
Be the first time in like 8 years I've been there, because that was the last time the Chargers played in Lambeau. So hopefully the result is better this time. I really can't see them losing, but yet I can.
Hey, Quentin Johnson had his best game of the season last
he
week.
did nice. It was
He had a
fun.
touchdown.
I just really would not be able to withstand a loss. I would not be able to live that down. But shout out to Mason for letting me stay up there the night before, so I don't have to drive up there for a noon game.
That's dope. All right, Ryan, how about you?
Deshaun Watson's out for the season.
That's going to be interesting.
DTR.
He's undergoing
DTR,
Time to
baby.
rise.
He's undergoing shoulder surgery.
Ooh, I wonder if somebody's going to help, All right, never mind.
Feeling a little tight in the shoulders.
Anyway, Zach, how
My final
about you?
thoughts. Excited to go to the Warhawk football playoff game this Saturday.
Let's go,
as it
Roll
should-
Hawks.
As it should be a good one.
Yeah, I wanted, we always, Warhawk football is always talked about before my show, but it's obviously very excited. We snuck into the playoffs this year, so hopefully that should be good. My final thoughts, I got to say shout out to Michigan football. I wanted to talk about that, but I realized that might not be a very popular topic since I'm the only Michigan fanboy here. But they said we couldn't play anyone. They said that we had a cupcake schedule. This is entirely true, but we went into Penn State, the supposedly hardest environment to play in college football, without our head coach. And dog walked them, ran the ball 32 straight times, didn't throw a pass in the second half. We said, you want our signs? Here they are. We're going to run the ball, and you still can't stop it. So Penn State, your coach is terrible. Death, taxes, and James Franklin losing big games every year. This has been my Penn State hate speech. Go blue, baby. But with that out of the way, thank you guys so much for listening to this Wednesday show. Hopefully my throat will be a little bit better next week. Talk to you guys soon.